Hi, I'm Judith Quin from Your Whole Voice, and I am a vocal confidence and communication specialist and a voice vibration sound healer. And that is what I'm here to talk to you about today. The power of voice vibration sound healing, how it can impact you, how it can help release you from the subconscious energetic and emotional baggage or rubbish or whatever you want to call it that's trapped in your subconscious brain and in your body's cell memory. So who am I and how did I get here and who am I to be sharing this stuff with you? So if you like credentials, here's a quick overview of how I got here. Really, I've been kind of doing this stuff my whole life. I remember as a child lying in bed, going to sleep, making weird sounds to myself, like wow, and speaking to myself in like some made up funny language, probably, let's face it, light language, for those of you who know about that. I would always make up songs, and really I wanted to be on the West End stage. Now, I did end up becoming an actor, but not in musicals, because singing became my vocal confidence challenge. And we'll come into that a little bit later. So I had that background. Then I also always gave massages. My mum used to get these really bad headaches. Turned out, brain tumour, don't worry, she's okay, it was operable. But from a very young age, she'd get us to massage her. And when I was massaging other people, I could always feel where the core of the headache came from. The heads particularly were my thing. So it's no surprise that I ended up becoming an actress and, to support my acting career, a massage therapist. And that's when I joined CThA. And I was practicing with that, and I've always worked energetically with people, but I wasn't really connected with Reiki, and it's just something about the whole, you need to be attuned. And I was just like, what are you talking about? I've never been attuned, and yet I know exactly where this person's energy is wonky. I didn't know at the time that I was a natural. So then I discovered the Earth Light Reiki, and that connected light language and Reiki. So I trained in that, and I worked with the amazing Stuart Pearce. I did his Alchemy of Voice course, which is where voice vibration sound healing got introduced. I did that course in 2011. Then he asked me to help facilitate the next course. And during that, a lady who I met in LA when I was on an acting course out there, she invited me on a retreat in Egypt, which was a meditation and spiritual journey retreat. And that's where I started sounding with other people. Eventually, I then was using all of these skills and tools, and one of my massage clients said, Judith, you're an actress and you do that stuff with sound, because no one really understands voice vibration sound healing unless you're in the world. She said, could you help my husband? He needs to give a speech in a couple of weeks to some solicitors and he hates public speaking. So then started my journey to becoming a vocal confidence public speaking coach. And that took me into the world of coaching. So now I combine all of those skills. The coaching, which again, I've kind of done since I was a kid. The voice vibration sound healing, always playing with sound, playing with voice, making up songs. My acting skills, having the ability to know how to stand and how we look and feel when we're not truly in truth, because the actor's job is always to find truth. And my massage skills, because when I've got my clients in front of me, as you know, if you're a therapist on a physical level, you see where people are holding their tension. So all of these came together to create the company that is now Your Whole Voice and the work that I do now. Everything I do is about helping people recognize and release the energetic, emotional rubbish, gumph, baggage, call it what you like, that we all hold on to. Now, some of us have done more self-awareness, self-development, energy, emotional release work than others, but I believe the onion is never peeled. There's always something lingering that you just go, oh, that. Or something that comes back because it's such a deeply embedded pattern. And this is where voice vibration sound healing is really powerful. It's where it can really unleash what we've been holding on to, but also for those who aren't aware of what their challenges are, really help us recognize where the blockages are. Because your voice is a reflection of every experience or emotion you have ever had, imagined, or witnessed. And that's huge, because you don't have to have had the experience to be holding on to it, to be afraid of sharing your voice. So how does voice vibration sound healing work? What is my experience, and where does it come from? I discovered it working with Stuart Pearce, and the sounds that I use and the ones that I'm going to introduce to you today, they're the ones that he taught on the Alchemy of Voice course that I did with him. He, in turn, had got them from Jonathan Goldman, who is kind of the godfather of sound healing, particularly vocal sound healing. He is the president, I think he's definitely the creator of the International Sound Healers Association, of which I'm also a member. And he created these sounds for ease for people to come in to their voice. Now, if you practice any of the ancient traditions, you know that sound healing has been around for millennia. In fact, if you just have a vague awareness of life, you know that. If you think of going to church and singing hymns, if you think of Indian meditation practices, or gongs from China, or if you go back into ancient Egypt, there is some theory around some chambers being built that were specifically for sound resonance. And having sounded in some of the chambers in Egypt, I can definitely tell you that the energy there is amazing. So how does it work? Well, the very simple overview is this. Everything is vibration. Don't you love it as an holistic healer that we can go to quantum physics and just say, look, quantum physics says everything is energy. So everything is energy. And sound is literally, physically energy. Sound waves travel through the air. Whether that is from your voice, whether that is from a musical instrument or a speaker, sound travels through the air. Whether it is someone next door chopping their logs or banging a nail into the wall. And those vibrations, what I love about sound healing is that it's physical as well as energetic. You can feel the sound waves moving through you. If you've ever stood next to a speaker at a concert and you feel it going through you, or you've heard a baby screaming and it goes right through, you feel it physically in your body. So it's a physical, energetic field. And that's what I love about it, because it's direct. So when you are practicing with sound, you feel it both physically and energetically, as well as emotionally. If you think of listening to a piece of music, it can put you straight into an emotional state. When I was in my mid-20s, so I'm talking about 2 decades ago, dance, house, rave music was the thing. I say it was the thing, it definitely wasn't my thing. I'm a heavy metal girl. And there you go, there's another little balancing act. Holistic healer, barefoot yoga, om, crystals, peace, shanti, sound healing, little bit of AC/DC. But house music, dance music was the thing. And a couple of friends at university convinced me to go to this club, and the music was doof, 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 doof. Everyone's doing this, off their heads on drugs, which I didn't do. And very quickly I started getting angry. And I don't mean just frustrated. I have got my father's Irish temper, and I would snap, and I was like, ugh. And I felt it and I didn't like it. So I was like, you know what, I'm leaving, I'm going, don't know what that's about. Got taken to another club, similar music, doof, 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 doof. I was like, oh, this music makes me angry, like really angry. So that was the first time that I really experienced the power of sound healing without even knowing that that's what it was, because it's about the vibration, the frequency of the sound waves. When they match the energy of the emotion or experience that you're carrying in your body, it's possible for you to relive that emotion or experience, or to have that same energetic reaction, and it's visceral as well as emotional. Now, on the flip side of that, you put on a little bit of Dolly Parton or a beautiful piece of classical music, a little bit of Chopin, and I'll be like, ah, oh, Chopin, it's lovely, I'm in this state, and Dolly, I'll happily dance to Dolly. So we know the power of music. We just don't think of it as sound healing. And that's what it is. It's been a part of our inheritance since the beginning of time. You just have to go back and think about tribal music, stamping feet, clapping hands, chanting, getting into a trance state through chanting, all the way back. It's always been there because it is a really quick, deep connection. This is what I love about it, because I'm someone who likes to go in fast, go in hard, go in deep, hold the space in a gentle way, but just go, right, let's go to the core of the problem. But, and this is what I love about voice vibration sound healing, if you're going in too hard, too fast, too deep, it's possible that it's like, you know, when you've got a bruise and you press the center of the bruise, it really hurts. But if you gently rub around the outside of the bruise, you ease it and you create healing. Now, obviously, the physical therapists know that's also about bringing the blood around, but it's less painful. It soothes, it eases. So with sound healing, when you are receiving it from an instrument, there's a big explosion in sound healing at the moment. There's gongs and crystal bowls and Tibetan bowls and didgeridoos and chimes and sound beds. There's loads of different ways of experiencing sound healing. When you're receiving it from someone playing an instrument, and don't get me wrong, I love a good gong bath or bowl bath, and there will be a set of crystal bowls in my future, and there's definitely a Chiron gong in my future. When you're receiving and someone else is playing, though, you have no control. So if the way they're playing it is going straight to the center of your bruise, it can be too much. It can be overwhelming. Like me in those rave clubs, right? The dance music clubs. It was too much. It triggered all my angry teenager anger that was still hanging around in my body. The joy of voice vibration sound healing, particularly when you are doing it, it's a skill that I teach to my clients and do with my clients. So sometimes I sound on their body, so I cup my hands on their body, wherever I'm feeling drawn to energetically. That's where the energy work comes in. And I sound. And that is when they are at the mercy of me, right? So sometimes I might hit the bruise, but you know very quickly, because people cry very quickly if that happens. And sometimes it's good. Then you say, is this okay? Do you want me to carry on? Or do you want me to ease off? Or very often I feel that energetically as well. But when my client is doing the sounding, if you come to a meditation circle, a sonic meditation with me, and you're sounding and you hit the center of your bruise and it's just too much, you're the one in control. So you can reduce your sounding. You can change the pitch of the note or the tone that you're sounding. You can stop and you can just receive the sound from other people. So, for example, on the 7-day sound healing retreat that I do, which goes deep, because remember, all of these sounds are connected to different energy centers, the chakras in the body, which relate to different energies, emotions, and experiences through our life. So big stuff comes up. Sometimes you need to just go, right now I'm reducing my sounding because I don't want to hit the center of my bruise. I just need to give myself some gentle soothing. And you can do that by shifting the note of the sound that you're making, or by decreasing the intensity of the volume or pitch or amount of oomph you're giving the sound. So that is, like, there's a whole lot there. But this is why I love voice vibration sounding. It's why it's my modality. Partly because obviously it is to do with the voice and it's to do with self-expression, and partly because when you're doing it, you're the one who can be in control. You're not at the mercy of someone else. So what are the sounds? How do they work? How do I work with it? Lots of people work in different ways with sound. I have a couple of different ways that I work with it. One is by using the Chakra Sounds, the Jonathan Goldman Chakra Sounds, and the energy of those chakra centers and the emotions that go with it to help people recognize where there's a block. So if you're trying to make a sound, say I was trying to open my heart, I was doing some heart sounding. The sound for the heart is a lovely open ha. So I would go ha and open up the heart. But if I had just been through a breakup, or if I was just feeling trapped somehow, or maybe I was just sounding my heart and it got stuck, and it didn't want to come out, I'd know if it's difficult for me to make the sound in my heart, I need to look to the energies of what surrounds the heart chakra. What might I be holding on to? What am I going through at the moment? What's coming up for me around love, around forgiveness, around compassion? Is it to do with other people, or do I need to have love, forgiveness and compassion for myself? So if my voice gets blocked anywhere, by knowing, feeling where it is you're trying to make the sound, you know the energies that are blocked. And also you can sound that sound to release it. So for example, if the heart was blocked, say there was a specific note, so ha, ha, that's where my heart note is today. Ha. Why am I holding my hand here? I'm going to take you through this in a moment. To feel the physical vibration. And the heart is very often the first energy center where people, if we're going from the bottom up, it's the first place people do start to feel the vibration, because most of you aren't trained singers and actors. You're not used to using your voice as a tool. So say that's my heart note today. But say that center note, the ha, was difficult. It was ha. Then what I do is I go above, ha, and gently sound from above. Again, not hitting the center of the bruise, going above, or I'd go below. Ha. That feels a little bit harder for me today. I know that's because I'm quite tired today. So I'd go to the one that's slightly above and then play around it. So so you see how I'm playing up and down and around, and occasionally you hit that middle note. Why? And I don't believe, by the way, that there's right and wrong notes for this. There are some people in the sound healing world who say the heart is, I can't even remember the hertz because I don't do it, 73 hertz, let's say. But for me, when you're doing voice vibration sound healing, that's hard to say because my body is a different size and shape to yours. And where I am today is different to where I will be tomorrow and where I was yesterday. In fact, where I am this evening is different to where I was this morning, is different to where I'll be tonight, because my body will be responding differently. I will be either more relaxed or more tight. So your body is your resonance chamber. So your note for each of the chakras, your personal note, changes. So allow that to be true for you when you're practicing, if you're exploring. Let yourself play and don't be trying to get it right. Don't be trying to make it perfect. Just play with where the sound is for you. So that's what I love about it, is you can play around the sound. And then you can just gently ease your way in. Sometimes you hit the sound and all the big emotions come up. When I was clearing a lot of my energetic, emotional baggage around my father, I was working with a sound healer and she got me sounding and I started sounding and that stuff started coming out. It's like, and it sounded like the only way I could describe it was a Native American mourning song. Like I was in grief for something, and there was snot and there was tears, but it felt good to be doing that release. So instead of backing off, I wanted to release more, and I sounded louder, let myself really get into it. And I was like, what is this? And I started stamping my feet and I was like, oh, and I just let all that grief out, because it feels so good sometimes to just let the emotions that we didn't know were trapped in our body out. And I was doing this sound healing as a favor to her, as one of her case studies for her training. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I said, I know it's grief. I said, I know it's not my aunt. She'd died a few years before. So different energy to that. And in the peace after the sound, which is lovely, oh, the tranquility of peace where you still feel the sound in the silence at the end. And in that peace, I suddenly got the really clear awareness that's like, oh, it's my dad. I'm grieving for the relationship we never really had. Even though I grew up with him in the house and he was there, he just, was off having affairs all the time, and so my mum wasn't very happy. But I always had a lot of anger for him, right? Teenage angry me. I had never acknowledged that there would be anything like grief. Like it hit me as like a bolt out of the blue, and when was I doing this? This was in 2011, so I was in my mid to late 30s. Suddenly, all this stuff, this grief for the relationship I'd never had with my father was there and coming out. So that awareness, that revelation was like, whoa, okay. And took me on another massive step on my self-development and self-awareness journey. And and all the sound healing I'd received, the gong baths I'd been to, the massages I've had, the coaching, the self-awareness, I hadn't really delved deeply into the coaching world at that point. But this voice vibration sound healing, all that grief, A, was no longer being stored in my body, and B, meant I had a massive light bulb. It's like, okay, so now I know this. Now I am actually finally in my late 30s admitting to myself I might have wanted a relationship with my dad. What can I do with this? So this is the power of voice vibration sound healing for me. It's deep. Like, it doesn't have to be. We can do sound healing light, but it's amazingly powerful and quick. And when you hit it, and when you are the client who is ready to release that stuff, it happens like that. The awareness and the release, poof, gone. If your client's not ready for it, then that level won't happen, because our amazing brains, our subconscious brain and our body's cell memory don't let us go to that state until we're ready. I have some people saying, oh, but couldn't you re-traumatize someone? Personally, I don't believe in re-traumatizing. So the body is holding on to that trauma anyway. If it's there, if it's ready to release, then your subconscious brain has told your body you're ready to release it. And obviously that's why we, as the therapists, are there to hold the space. So on the retreats that I run, I've had a whole range of different levels of experiences. So someone who was right at the beginning of their healing, self-awareness journey, just coming to the awareness of, because my voice doesn't even want to be in my whole body. I don't like my body. So her awareness, her awakening was being able to let her voice physically into her body. And this is what I was talking about where we feel the sound. I've had someone else who he realized on the retreat he needed to step into his power. And then I've had a woman who had been physically abused at 17, was now 50, thought she'd dealt with it all, but there was still something left. And that all came out in the sounding, where she was at a point to finally release that and let that go and move forward. So yes, it can bring up big stuff, but only what you're ready for. And that's where my job comes in, to hold the space and make sure my client knows how powerful it is. Make sure the client is aware that they can tell me if it's too much, and make sure that I just hold the space and allow them to be in whatever they need to be in. So that's how powerful this stuff is. And I want to share with you some of the sounds and some of the ways for you to start exploring your own voice vibration and where things may be held and also where things are free, right? Remember, music can also be about bringing us up. So it's an amazing tool for state change. The other day I was really angry and frustrated. I'd had a horrible tech day on my computer and I went to the post office and things were just annoying and irritating there and I was feeling really grey. But that wasn't the energy I needed. It wasn't about releasing the frustration. I actually went into my higher vibration sounds. One of the cards that I'd pulled that day was the celestial support. And I went into the angelic higher, so playing around with those lovely high vibrational sounds. And as soon as I did that, my state was like, So it's also a brilliant tool for state change, for stress management. So let me give you the first tool, which is brilliant for stress management and is simple and easy and everyone can do it. And that is the hum. So we start with breath. So you breathe out, breathe in, and gently place your hand on your chest and just hum. Any tone, any note, whatever's coming to you. And then I want you to start playing with your hum up and down your range until you start feeling a little tingle somewhere in your chest. Don't worry if you don't. If you're someone who hates hearing the sound of your own voice, just humming might be the first move for you. So, so there's my note here. It's that's where it is. See, sometimes you think you found it and then you change it and it opens up again. And that's a different one as well. There it is. Oh, that just gave me the sense of Why the chest hum? Because it brings you out of your head. When you're stressed or worried or concerned or just everything's too much, we're up here. So it brings it into your body. What you may have noticed when you were doing the playing around is that the higher notes make your lips tingle or your nose tickle or your teeth, and the lower notes vibrate lower in your body. And this is how we work with the tones and the sounds. So I'm just going to quickly go through those for you. So the root chakra sound that I use is haw, and that's on a deep note for you, whatever that is. So today for me that is and that's not a very low note for me, but today that's where I am. The sacral is who. That's interesting. Who. Yeah, so there they are. And you can play together. The solar plexus is ho. The heart is ha. The throat, hi. The third eye, hey. And the crown, hey. And there's no right or wrong note, so just play with yourself on those notes. And then when I do the deeper work, it's what are the energies that are around there. So if it's difficult or becomes emotional. So the root is safety, security, stability, strength, and the ability to let go. The sacral is around passion, your fire, your ability to really get into what you love, your creativity. It's also your center of nurturing. So your solar plexus is your will, your control, or being able to let go of control. and your identity, your sense of wholeness. This is often a big one, the solar plexus. So where people hold on to all the labels that have been put on you through life that you really could do with letting go of. The heart, as we said before, is love, forgiveness, compassion. The throat, communication, and truth. So speaking your truth, but also being truthful to yourself. The third eye is your intuition, your inner tuition. Do you listen to the whispers and do you trust yourself? So third eye is trust. And the crown is your spiritual connection, whatever that means to you. Your connection to that which is more than, bigger than self. And it's also where your higher self sits. So those are the basic sounds and the basic premise and tenet of voice vibration sound healing. How can you use this for yourself? I would suggest start with the humming. So self-soothing. So when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling angry, when you're feeling emotional, just give yourself a little heart hum. And then maybe if you want to explore a little bit about coming into your voice, if you are someone who finds it difficult to speak up or share your opinion, if you know that you get emotional and words get stuck in your throat, and people often come to me with throat chakra issues, it's nothing to do with the throat chakra. Your throat chakra is the last defense mechanism. So occasionally it will be to do with communication and truth. But more often than not, it's because your throat chakra is the last defense mechanism and it closes up, not letting you release any of the emotions you're feeling from the chakras below. So your throat could be your safety and security, your root chakra stuff. It could be your connection to being a parent, right? Creativity, reproduction in your sacral. It could be control or identity, or someone is taking control of your life, or you are wanting to take control. It could be your heart. It could be that you don't want to show your vulnerability and your throat closes up. So acknowledge where is easy for you to play with sound and where is challenging. And the places that are challenging might be the places that you want to look at exploring, releasing, finding what energy, emotion, or experience you're still holding on to there. How can you use voice vibration sound healing with your clients? Well, I would suggest that unless you are a sound healer, then use chimes and things like that to create a lovely sense of calm. And if you want to use voice with them, again, I would suggest teaching them the hum. Other than that, just obviously like any practice, be aware. If you haven't got the training and the knowledge, then always, use what is useful and simple and easy. So like the hum, for example, and the heart sound is really lovely. But maybe if you want to have a look into finding out more about how this works, then go and explore sound healing yourself in a little bit more detail. Before we finish, I just want to share the power of the cards with you. Why? Because they're physical. And like I said, it's both a physical and energetic medium. So to be able to have something in your hand, and here you can see I've got some of the chakra cards. So that's the heart. Oh, that's the one for silence, which I love. There's the crown. There is the root. Right? So it's about having something to meditate on. This one is make sound. I thought it was. I just needed to check because speak your truth is similar. And you can just look at the cards and meditate. So some people there, weird, there's Speak Your Truth, which I just opened miraculously at the same time. It's really lovely to have something physical for your clients to be able to hold and use. And these would be something safe that you could give them to do with sound because they come with the booklet and the booklet tells them the sounds to make. And it's kind of a sounding light. And this one is the connect, which is the hum. I created these because a client asked me to. She said, you use other people's oracle cards, haven't you thought of creating your own? And I'm really glad I did because they give me a beautiful way of helping people express themselves. And I mentioned earlier there was the growl one. I also have the howl and I have one for rant and rave. Is to allow ourselves, particularly as holistic healers, as very often spiritual people, we tend to avoid the challenging emotions. But if we hold on to them, they only hurt us. So we need to be able to have a way of releasing them, and the sound is a beautiful way of doing that. If you want to find out anything more about voice vibration sound healing, how I work, how it may be able to benefit you working with your clients, if you want to get a copy of the deck of cards or come and join me on retreat, sorry, I just dropped something there. If you want to come and join me on retreat or on my online sound circle, which I run as a free or donation weekly meditation, then feel free to get in touch. Everything is Your Whole Voice. So my website, yourwholevoice.com, and my social media at Your Whole Voice, and my website I have given you. My email is connect@yourwholevoice. So if you'd like to get directly in touch, feel free. And obviously, if you feel that you might like to receive a little bit of sound healing, I work online as well as in person. So online works amazingly well. And I have clients who I've never met in real life. But if you want to really go deep, if you want to do some big one-on-one stuff, I even have like a 3-day intensive where we go down to Avebury and Glastonbury and get really deep in there with the sound. So there's all sorts of things available. I hope you found this useful. And remember, if in doubt, breathe and always come to the hum. Thank you.